Hey, we're going to walk through how to write a creative brief for a blogger to make sure that you get the best trade-off between what's good for SEO and also what's going to make the post interesting for the readers. So we are um, a company that sells face wash. We're kind of a startup D2C brand. Our unique proposition is that we use AI to personalize the face wash for the person. But don't worry about that right now. The main thing that we're focused on is we know that people who have oily skin are a really good match for our product. And we've done some keyword research and found that the keyword best face wash for oily skin is worth targeting. It has a high volume, so 5.2 thousand searches per month in the US. We also have high global volume. A lot of people in India search this, and the keyword difficulty is low, so it's 19 out of 100, which isn't too bad. There's also lots of sub keywords that have decent traffic as well. So, what's the best face wash? Acne, blackheads. There's a few different ways we can take this. There's also things like, not just face wash, but also face cleanser. We can incorporate all of these into our post. Cool. So first thing is let's copy some of this information across. So we are using the keyword best face wash for oily skin. That is the primary keyword. We also want to kind of look at the secondary keywords, which would be, in this case, the keywords underneath here, so matching terms. I'm just going to click into matching terms here so we can see. So there's a few different things. So best face wash for oily skin matches best face wash for oily skin and acne. So I'm going to copy that one across for acne, and then this is for blackheads and oily skin. And then, so this is face wash. We're also gonna, here's oily skin and pimples. So these are specific keywords that are kind of related. Here we go, large pores. And we want maybe like 3 to 5 of these sub keywords. This is really just to give the writer an idea of what sorts of other keywords have traffic here. So I'm gonna say exfoliating face wash. Okay, and we're just gonna go to like related terms here as well. So face wash, face cleanser. Best face wash for acne. Okay, cool. Best drugstore face wash. Cool. So these are the kind of the sub keywords that are interesting. We're gonna simplify some of these so they don't get confused. So just gonna put like acne, blackheads, pimples, large pores, exfoliating face wash, face cleanser, best drugstore face wash. So this, there you go. Put these back in here so it's related to face wash. Cool. So now that kind of gives them an idea of what types of content are similar, we can kind of decide on this based on the keyword research that we've done here, or we could also, if we have a good idea of what sorts of things our customers are talking about and like other things they search for, we can include that too. I'm just going to go into search suggestions, see if there's any more that we want to include. So sensitive skin, that's kind of interesting as well. So I'm just going to say here. Now, these could also be like their own blog posts potentially, but they're pretty low volume. That's why there's subtopics here. If they were a higher volume, like the oily skin one that we're targeting, then you would have their own, you would create their own blog post for them. But these could be, specific subtopics like titles, etc. For this, for this keyword. Cool. So I also like to put the search volume and difficulty in here. So search volume is for the US. In this case, it's 5.2. And then the search volume for global volume is 34. Okay. Cool. The reason why I'm putting this is just so the writer has like an understanding of how big the opportunity is, because I want to know if this is like a small keyword that's not really worth writing about that much, or like a big important keyword, and that will help them right size the investment they make into the keyword. The other thing is the keyword difficulty, which in this case is 19 out of 100. Okay. So that will also tell them, if this is a really hard keyword to go after, they're going to have to pull something special out of the bag. If it's a relatively easy keyword, then it shouldn't be as difficult. Cool. So just to recap, now we have the primary keyword, we have the stats around it, and then we have some secondary keywords that are related. I'm just going to go back to the overview, and there's one more thing we're going to put in here, which is also talk about. So these are kind of topics that might be related. So in this case, we've got hyaluronic acid. So that seems related. And then salicylic acid. So these are great additional topics here as well. So we also talk about benzoyl peroxide. And these are just things that the writer can look into. It might not be that they're actually good cures for oily skin. Might not be that our product has this in it, but that's part of the research that they're gonna do. And maybe they could say like, alternative treatments are tea tree oil, but then they kind of gives them some places to look for further research. Cool. All right, so that is the search volume. The next thing we need to do is come up with our angle. So let's go back to this keyword, and we want to look at the search results page for this keyword. Okay, so if we scroll down here, we can see who's ranking number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason why it's important to do this in a keyword research tool is just that if I search for best face wash for oily skin, the results are going to be personalized to me. So I get the shopping results at the top, but I've got the strategist.co.uk, Women's Health Magazine, Birdie, Look Fantastic, Cosmopolitan. And these are very, very different order in terms of, what like the average is, at least for this data set. So New York Mag is number 1 here. So this is the strategist.co.uk, whereas this one is also the strategist, I guess, but New York Mag URL. So that's kind of interesting. Birdie, okay, Today, Forbes. So Women's Health Magazine is number 7th. For me, I guess they've ranked it higher. Your Google search results are personalized to you, and therefore, if you're looking at just your own search results, you might be kind of ranking a page higher than it actually ranks in real life, just because that's what it's ranked for you. And that's an important point. We're going to come back to this because one of the other things we're looking for here is what's the angle that we can use to rank. So we kind of want to look at, what are the top things that are ranking? Like, are they any good? Can we do better than them? But better is a relative term, right? Like, it might not be better objectively. Maybe you can't write something as good as, what the New York Magazine has done. maybe this is, okay, so they've maybe interviewed dermatologists, and that's like really hard for you to do. But you could do something different. You could come up with a new angle that maybe you talk more about acid, right? And like, or maybe you talk about alternative treatments, and that's like a different angle to what they've gone for, which is talking to dermatologists. If you're the type of person who cares about what dermatologists say, then you would prefer this post. But if you're the type of person who's like looking for more information on like alternative treatments, then maybe this post isn't for you. And then we have an opportunity, and people who are browsing the search pages might be willing to kind of browse a bit further down and click until they find something that talks about alternative treatments. Equally, because the search results are personalized, your post might show up at the top for someone that Google knows is interested in alternative treatments. Cool. So that's the next phase of what we're doing here. So typically, what I want to do is just open up, just holding Control and then clicking. I'm just opening up here every single one of the pages, and I just want to kind of get a quick sense of what they're doing to rank. Okay, so this first one is like the best face washes for the skin according to dermatologists, and they've interviewed a bunch of different dermatologists here, and then they have these cleansers as well. They have links out to purchase, so that's interesting. And these are, I guess, affiliate links. Looks like it. Cool. So this is like very product heavy. And they do talk a little bit about, at the top about, the science of it as well. So let's look at this one. So best face washes for skin that banish shine. Okay, so that's interesting. Banish shine. So that's like another angle, something that people are talking about. We've got sebaceous glands, talking about overproduction of oil. And this is something that people worry about with oily skin. They don't want a shiny skin, I guess. They've, I think, put like a bit less. Oh, yeah, here we go. So they have also, it looks like an affiliate thing. They're kind of looking through to these different reviews. And actually, this first page is broken. So that's a good sign. It means that we can do better than this. They have specific testers. So they have here like what our testers say, and they have a link out to like a real person. So that's something that maybe we can't replicate with our simple SEO articles. So we need to find a different angle. We probably like these guys have product testers. The other ones talk to dermatologists. So let's see what is next. Okay, that won't leave your face feeling tight. So this, I guess, is a common problem. And here we go, buy shiny forehead, so you never. Okay, so we're starting to get more of a sense of like what are the major things that are interesting in the space. And what you want to do is you want to kind of start putting these into the document as well. If we go to our brief, okay, so I'm going to call this top ranking. Top ranking, and then I'm going to say, here we go. So this is number one. This one is number two. So doing this research, like typically, not everyone on the team would have access to a keyword research tool because they cost money and you're not supposed to share the logins. So you usually want to kind of do the research for them and put that into the document. And it's going to save them time, but also save you money. So let's go back here. So we're going to say this is according to dermatologists. So let's go back to our brief. Okay, this one's according. So we're basically kind of categorizing what are these ones about, and then this one is specifically what our testers say. So we're basically trying to figure out what are the angles of these different ones here. So let me see. So this one's like best picks. the reviews. Okay, so this one is like actual reviews. So as we kind of user reviews, so these guys have gone through and they've kind of looked at the actual user reviews for these products and kind of pulled out interesting things. That's like a bit more achievable for us. But like because they've already done it, we don't want to copy it. But you're starting to get a sense of like what are the different angles of these different pages, and then we can come up with our angle as well. So I'm just going to add a couple more. So according to Dems who tried everything. So here we go. So this is, I guess they have asked. Okay, so this is Dr. Garshik. So they've also talked to dermatologists, but this is tried everything. So that's kind of an interesting angle. We'll put this in here. And I'm just going to add one more. Okay, so that was that one. And then this is what to know about treating shiny, oily skin according to a dermatologist. So then this is just according to one dermatologist. Okay. Okay, so that's probably enough in terms of that's in terms of the competitive ranking. Now, what we want to kind of do is put like some kind of terminology that we've noticed whilst looking at these. I'm going to say some of the things that jumped out is I'm going to say, here we go, something about shine, right? Banish shine. So that's something that people talk about. We're going to talk about face feeling tight. That's interesting. So these are kind of like the memes that we've noticed. These are like different terminologies that that stand out for us, and we can keep kind of adding more to this if we want to. But I would say that's probably like a good enough competitive understanding. At least for the beginning of the post, and they didn't have, they can go through and read these and kind of come up with more ideas as they go. But you've at least started that thinking for them. So the next thing I usually want to do is kind of look a bit further down for more inspiration. So these are like the top ones that you really should read, but then there's a few others that might kind of spark our interest. So this is like you could basically look into these a lot less because they're ranking a bit lower, but you're just looking for inspiration. So here, kind of like that's kind of interesting. Combination skin sensitive, acne prone, acid cleanser. Powder. Right. So just gonna skip through there. Starting under 10 pounds. So that's interesting. Okay. And then take care of your skin wisely. So that's not very good grammar, but what causes oily skin? Okay, so I'm just going to cancel that one out. And then this one is control excess sebum, shine, and acne. Just going to put control excess sebum. I'm going to stick that in there. That's kind of interesting. And then this is the last one. So they don't really have any information. It's just products. It's in French as well. Interesting. Okay. All right. So those are the ones that we've looked at so far. Now, I would say this is where you put your creative hat on. You think, okay, we know roughly what these guys have talked about. They have like product testers or dermatologists. This one, they're looking at user reviews. So that's kind of interesting. And there's specific things people talk about like banish shine, face feeling tight. We've tried everything, control excess sebum. So I want to come up with a new angle. And one of the things we thought about earlier was like these kind of alternative treatments. So let's look at like alternate treatments, oily skin. Okay, so these are like 10 home remedies. We can see wash your face is number one. So okay, that's pretty obvious, right? Like, but they also have these other things like blotting papers, honey, cosmetic clay, oatmeal, egg whites and lemons, some almonds, okay, aloe vera, jojoba oil, tomatoes. Cool. So this could be an interesting angle, right? So how do we incorporate this? So let's call this like creative angle. And we want to kind of direct the writer towards this because, in this scenario, we would be like the expert in oily skin, and we maybe talk to someone on our team who created this, created this product, and kind of get an understanding of how could we tackle this this angle. So let's say there's we have, like, according to dermatologists, what our testers say, we kind of want like a creative angle that can beat these things for certain types of people, and like, in a way that's not as expensive as going out and interviewing dermatologists or looking at user reviews. So the angle that I think we could potentially use here, and you might come up with something different, is let's look at alternative treatments. Like for oily skin, like relative to face wash, and combine them. So let's call this like, is it best face wash alternatives for oily skin, and we should probably still rank. Here we go, and how they compare. We should probably still rank here for best face wash for oily skin. Obviously, we have the keyword alternatives, and the reason we're still going to rank is we're going to we're going to kind of link it back to these best face washes. So we're still going to have like a few different face washes here. So maybe to make it easier to link back, we can, instead of alternatives, let's say like complements for oily skin, and then we don't need to like compare them side by side necessarily. So in this case, let's say we've got a few different complements. So we've got tea tree oil. Say number one is wash your face, and then we have our product, so our face wash competitor face wash face wash. We have three in there, and then so that we would say the number one thing you can do is wash your face, and then as well as washing your face, here's like a few of the alternatives. So complements that we decided. So aloe vera is one, and then blotting papers looks like it's another one, and then we have like honey, cosmetic clay. Cool. So we're just going to put etc. in there, so we can say that they can put more things in. Cool. So now we have an angle. We want to say wash your face. I'm going to say no link in here because we don't want to link through to the competitors. We just want to talk about them as a comparison. And then here we want the value proposition to be like personalized by AI. That's the value proposition. We can even specifically say which competitor, so that could be, the expensive one. And then this could be, maybe, I'll popular in the US. So you kind of want to specifically choose competitors that are not really a competition for you, if that makes sense. And then we have these different kind of complements for the oily skin. So this gives a bit more information, like additional information for the face wash. And underneath these specific complements, we want to say like, why is, what's the evidence? And we want to say like, what's the evidence for each one, essentially, because then that's going to kind of make it a little bit less new age. And this is like versus actually face wash. Okay, so just going to say, what's the evidence? So we're kind of providing a little bit more value. It takes some research. We say, like, is there any evidence for tea tree oil? Is there any evidence for aloe vera? And essentially, by constantly saying what's the evidence, we're bringing them back to face wash. So bringing them back to face wash if there's no evidence. Cool. They should hopefully get the idea. So they should get the idea here. So let's summarize the structure, because I've just been thinking of it as we go. So we're going to do best face wash complements for oily skin. That's going to be our creative angle that helps us rank against these other guys who have dermatologists on their side, or they've looked at user reviews. We can't really compete with that, so we're going to go in a different direction and provide information that's not currently on the page, which will be better for some people who are interested in these alternatives or complements. Then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about washing your face is the number one thing to do, and then talk about our face wash versus two other competitors. We're going to choose competitors specifically that are like not really competition, and we're not going to link out to them because this is essentially an ad for our company, right? And then we're going to go through these different alternatives, and we're going to say what's the evidence. And if there is no evidence, we're going to bring them back to face wash. So the whole kind of article works together. We're delivering on something interesting that they haven't seen before, but then we're bringing them back to washing their face. And I think that together is going to give a lot more direction for the creator to go into. They know specifically what they need to research. They have like a hit list of different things that they can add to as they go, and they can find more stuff. So this is the type of structure you want to use. The reason why you want to give this much structure is because most writers are professional writers, not professional kind of face wash experts. And they might know a lot about face wash. If you've done your job recruiting good writers, know the space, then they can maybe come up with these angles themselves. But even if they do come up with the angle, I encourage you to get them to do this exercise and then send it back to you. The reason is, writing a post is expensive. It takes like half a day potentially to write this and research it. Maybe even a day or a couple of days, depending on the length of the article. So you don't want to actually write the article until you've agreed on the outline and the creative angle. This is the creative angle, and then this is really the outline. Post outline, and it's much cheaper to, we only took us 30 minutes to do this. Much cheaper to agree on this outline before you write it than it is to like have someone write something and then have to go and rewrite it because it's not what you expected. And we're thinking about this strategically, in terms of how do we rank against these guys? How do we give a different angle than what they have? So from the beginning, we're kind of setting this post up for success. and setting this writer up for success. So they're not wasting a lot of time trying to ideate and think of what strategic angle could I have here. And this, if you have a really good brief, you can use less good writer. So it does bring your costs down as well. Think about this: like the more you do the heavy lifting, and it takes you less time to write this brief than it would take a mediocre writer to write it. In fact, maybe they wouldn't even be able to come up with the creative angle in some cases if they don't know the space very well. So this is the best way to kind of keep the cost of production low, but also make sure that there's like some information and some use to the article, like it's actually interesting and it's good enough to rank, but still cost effective.